Hey, what's going on? It's Crook Report. Yeah, week week 12, week 11 in the books. Week 11 is in the books. Season moving right along. Moving right along. Yeah, yeah. It's the Crook Report, man. I'm back. I know I took a couple weeks off. Had some technical things we was dealing with as far as equipment, but hey, we back and we fresh off of a win. You know how it is, man. Everything started in with my boys, with my Cowboys. So fresh off a win. I'm not gonna get too up. I'm not gonna get too down. A win is a win. That's the NFL. You take them as they come. Hey, if it's a win, you take it. I don't care who you play. Because in the NFL, a win is hard. I don't care what team you play or whatever. To win in that league is hard. So hey, I take it. But I'm gonna recap the game a little bit. Just a few highlights on the game and talk about that and the rest of the my fantasy team. This thing originated on fantasy. Back in the winning column in my big league. I lost in the second league I'm in, but I won in my third big league. So hey, I'm in first place in two of them, and I think I'm gonna fall to fifth place or maybe even sixth in the in my barbershop league. But sixth place is still a playoff spot, so I just need to get there. I just need to get there and see what happens. So and just kind of hot off the press. I'm kind of leaking some information. In my big league, in my NYC league, I got a little trade deal on the table. So we'll see what happens. It's a pretty. We'll see what happens. That's all I say. It's in the works. If it'll happen or not, I don't know. But hey, you know how it is. If you ain't trading, you ain't trying. If you ain't trading, you ain't trying. In fantasy. So with that, I've watched the game, the other day and yesterday. I'm sorry, on Monday night, and man, the thing with the Cowboys, it's potential, on the team, and they were playing some inspired football because of Marshawn Nealon, his tragic situation. So the Cowboys were playing inspired. So I figured they would go out there and do what they did because they make a trade, two big trades last week, a week and a half ago, and then they had the tragic situation. Well, the tragic situation happened first, then the trade. But two things, and they were inspired. So I expected that. So next week I think we got Philly. Philly escaped the first time we played the season opener. Cowboys, was right there. Should have gave Philly a L that day, but hey, they lost. They lost. But do you think the Cowboys are a better team now than the first week? Do you think Philly a better team now than the first week? I don't know. I definitely think the Cowboys are better than they were the first week. The offense is a lot more polished now, and you could say that for any team after the first week of the season. I get that, I do. But if you just look at the body of work on the offensive side of the ball, I think the Cowboys are definitely more efficient than Philadelphia. And you could say the same thing for Philly on the other side of the ball. You know, so yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. Exciting. It'd probably be an exciting game, in Cowboy Stadium. But I guess it's going to come down to two things. Can the Cowboys run the ball, and can they stop the run? That's what it's going to come down to. They did a lot better job yesterday in stopping the run, but they were playing Las Vegas. They was playing Vegas. So, take that with a grain of salt, Cowboys fans. That's us. We're going to take it with a grain of salt. We know who we was playing. But at the end of the day, you got to beat the team that's in front of you. That's what we did. But not too high, not too low. Because you got the reigning Super Bowl champs, strolling into Texas Stadium, the Jerry Dome, on Sunday. So put your bootstraps on, man. Quinn Williams paid dividends yesterday. He had a sack and a half. What they rushed for 30 yards, I don't know, somewhere up in there. But they not going against no Genty next week. They going against Saquon, the reigning rushing champion, from last year. And Philly still got a dominant offensive line. So it's going to be a challenge. It'll be a challenge for us, But one thing that I kind of want to touch on with the Cowboys
shot across the bow that Brian Schottenheimer just delivered.
This right here.
First series, they were on the sideline. Geno Smith wide up.
Why is people always open like that with the Cowboys? I just don't understand that. Always open. I don't understand why are they always
the
open.
outstanding tight end Brock Bowers. And an 18-yard completion to start
Just don't
the night
matter.
for Geno Smith.
I just don't get it. And here we go again. Let's see what happened here.
Smith.
You got a sack.
Gets away. Pass is caught, but well short of
Should've had a
first
sack.
down yardage by the
Should've
tight
had a
end
sack
Mayer.
there.
Tom Brady, minority owner, no headset on this Monday night, as it was the last time the Raiders were playing on Monday Night
Good
Football,
run
which
right there for
caused a mild
Javonte.
uproar.
Again, we did address the running defense. They tried. They've been trying. They come in, made the trade with Michael Parsons, and you get Kenny Clark. From Green Bay, Pro Bowler. Defense still was leaking. Because you get him don't mean that your linebackers all of a sudden get good and the rest of your defensive line is is good. No, the scheme is still jacked up. So they went out and utilized some draft capital from the trade that they picked up with the Packers. Went out and acquired Quinn Williams, a young stud, and they made the trade for the linebacker from Cincinnati, a pretty good, run stuffing linebacker, So let's kind of evaluate that trade. Well, both trades. Well, all three, honestly. Let's go back to Michael Parsons' trade with the Cowboys. The only issue I have with that trade is they made it with the Packers. And the Packers are a good team that's going to win 12 or 13 games. That's the issue. That is the only issue that I have with them trading Michael Parsons. They didn't trade him to a bad team. That's it. I wish they had traded him to a bad team. That's the only issue I have with the trade. And maybe the timing of the trade. I wish they'd have did it before the draft. This year's draft. I wish they'd have did it before this year's draft. I think we could have got a boatload for him then, and drafted some. It was a few nice little decent players come out this year now. Yeah, we could have got some of them. Those two issues is the only thing that I had with the trade of Michael Parsons. So we got a first rounder for next year and a first rounder in 27. But it also allowed us to, right after that trade, we signed two of our players that had we signed Michael Parsons, we'd have lost them next year. They would have been gone next year. And it was two guys that, that we can use for sure. So made those two trades. Then, George Pickens, I know that was, that didn't have anything to do with the Micah trade, but that potentially can sign him to an extension that wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't have no room to do had we not traded Micah. Now, if we don't trade Micah, we obviously don't have Kenny Clark because he was involved in the trade. Then we go out right at the deadline and make a trade for a top 3 defensive tackle in the league. If he ain't top 2, he may be number 1 in the league. That's already under contract, and he's under contract already. So we don't have to worry about signing him next year. He's under contract. And we give up a second rounder this year, which means that still got both of the first, and we give up a first round next year. And we still have one left. Because remember, we had 2 for the Michael Parsons trade. So, all in all, like I say, the 2 issues I had with the trade, it is what it is. But on the surface, I think, and this is, some people don't agree with me, and that's fine, but I think the Cowboys are set up better in the future without Micah instead of with Micah, because it opens up cap space to sign other players and kind of reset the player personnel on the defensive side of the ball. The only problem is who making the picks. So we back to that. But hey, it is what it is, man.
And Javonte Williams on first down gets 9.
They would like to run the ball.
Let's look at some more of this here.
Here's a blitz. Cowboys pick it up. Prescott is protected. Now
This is strip sack.
gets in, and the ball is out.
Look at that.
Raiders on top.
I thought that was going to be a start of something bad. I thought that was the start of something bad, But, hey, we recovered from that, and, yep.
How to swap faces with Edamaker AI. Whether swapping multiple faces or one face at once,
Cowboys
Edamaker enables seamless face swapping in videos, GIFs, and
the average team. That's all it is.
Well, Max Crosby comes in. Dak Prescott had to double clutch it. He didn't like what he saw downfield, and rightfully so with CeeDee Lamb. That's where he's trying to go with the football. But instead, it's taken away by Polamalu, the safety. And as Dak Prescott tries to tuck it, Max Crosby, who never takes a play off, he's able to jar it loose.
Well, it's a turnover at the moment, so they will look at it. Russell, do you think it stands?
Yeah.
And that was another player that the Cowboys kind of looked at, but the Raiders quickly shut it down. Said nope, we ain't doing it. So let's look and see what happened. On that possession after the turnover. Here we go.
Smith.
Cowboys get some pressure.
Sack.
Got him.
Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark, one of the guys we traded for.
Three-time Pro Bowler, former
All-Pro.
All-Pro.
Still on the same drive.
And former Jet. 3rd down and 12. End zone shot. Tucker, the throw behind him.
That was just a bad pass.
35-yard try.
We hit him to a field goal. Hit him to a field goal, but that was more Geno than that should have been a touchdown. Again, the Cowboys defense, DBs are always out of position because they know when they play that zone, they're just not a good zone team. I don't know if the teaching is just not there or if it's what it is. I don't know, but they just not a zone team. Hell, they ain't even a man team. That's the problem. We don't have no identity on defense. No identity. But hey, that's the process,
3 points off the turnover.
So we held them to 3.
When they can use the play action game, that is
Next
when they're
possession.
at their best.
Pressure off the edge. There's Pickens. Perfect throw, catch.
Pickens had a big
and the
night.
tackle and a first down for the Cowboys.
Dallas goes right to the hurry up and gets on the line.
And hands, Dak does to Javonte Williams, and he gets 8.
Javonte on my fantasy team too. I don't know if I mentioned that, but he on my fantasy team. He had a modest night. He didn't do much at all. But CD did. I also have CD on my fantasy team in my big league. So he had a decent night. He wasn't that special.
Prescott in trouble. 4th down as he throws in the direction of CD Lamb, and there was pressure by Devin White.
Held us to a field goal.
Trying to knock this up.
50-yard try for the best in the game, and Aubrey knocks it through.
He make it look
Get
like
these young guys, Dante Thornton as well. Some of these young wide receivers get a little more involved in this
here we go.
offense.
Some more wide open.
Smith.
Wide open.
Powers.
Just
First
wide
down.
open. I don't understand how we just
That's
let
his
players
second
run down
catch
the
of the night
field
after
wide,
just 3
freaking
targets.
open.
Tough as nails and a heck
This
of a football
Geno
player.
Smith, man.
Play action from
Look at
Geno
that.
Smith, and wide open is Ian Thomas.
It's Geno
The other
Smith.
tight end. And we've seen all 3 tonight. Gain of 20.
Geno Smith is a turnover machine.
Geno Smith is swallowed up and sacked
That's
in
what
the
he do. He
backfield.
takes sacks and turn the ball over if you get
Toya.
pressure on him. Get some freaking pressure on
Free
him.
agent to be Daniel Carlson from 45 yards
Oh.
out. Good snap, good hold. The kick is good. And the Raiders back on top by 3.
The early part of his career, still a young player.
I believe
but
the
for him
Cowboys
to
come
do
back
what
on this
he's now
possession and
doing, they've won 5 of
score
their
a
last 7,
touchdown.
playing some good football.
Pickens wide open on a play action, and he's to midfield.
He had a good.
One
Pickens had
other
a
note about
good,
Carolina.
pretty good night.
You can create any character
Pickens
you
had a
want
pretty good
in
night.
seconds.
This used to require huge Hollywood budgets.
I don't know if the
complex
Cowboys
software,
going to be
and
able to
tons
sign
of
him
time.
next
But
year
right now, all you
because
need is
his
a
stock
lap-
is going up.
Prescott
His stock is going
out
up.
to his right, and now finds Pickens again.
See what I'm saying? He's playing his
2
way out of
completions to
Dallas.
George
Is what he's
Pickens, just
doing.
1 for
You have
15.
one of these
Is the run game with Javonte Williams.
And here he is again. Big
teams
hole
that
over
have
the
offered him
right
a lot of money.
side, and into the red zone go the Cowboys.
But the Cowboys
at
could
the end of
franchise
quarter
him too,
number
so
1 here in Las Vegas.
that could be.
Meldman, the founder of Discovery Land Company. High-powered
Touchdown, CD Lamb.
sweep. Here's
Oh, no, not
Pickens,
that.
And great catch, but out of bounds.
Might be a field goal.
Arguably the best of his career. He was locked up, but you give Pickens an
If I
opportunity.
ain't mistaken, I think the next
we've
play
seen
is
him make some miraculous
CeeDee
catches
Lamb
and just
down
a
the middle,
little too far
right
out of
off
bounds.
the
But
in the seam.
it was close,
for a
and
touchdown.
this
I think it like
becomes
an
a big
18-yard
possession.
touchdown or something.
Really for
19.
both teams.
Camera work by Jason Jones
go.
on that last effort by
CeeDee Lamb
Pickens.
straight down.
Here's
There we go.
Lamb wide open, backs
Straight down
in
the
for the
seam.
touchdown.
On my fantasy team, yes sir. Yes sir. Crook Report, baby.
That's
That's one of my guys.
Well, they're in zone
That's my
coverage.
team, and that's my guy. One of my
you
guys.
pull him out, he just doesn't carry it. And
Yeah, I know what I'm
whether or
talking
not
about in
he's
NYC.
supposed to,
It was slipping around on Overshown.
nothing worse than when the Gray starts to slide.
Here's Geno Smith, fakes the throw and slides with a nice gain on first down.
Just letting him know what he's looking for.
Blitz coming.
That's what
Quinnen Williams got there.
Quinn
This
Williams.
year, like we've seen from him in prior.
Like I say, Quinn Williams got there. That is so in the draft next year, we'll probably have 12, 13, first round pick. And then we'll have a 20 something because Green Bay will win 12 or 13 games. I'm thinking this year. So they'll be out the playoffs in the first round or something like that. And but we'll be picking number 23, 24, somewhere up in there. So, best defensive player on the board at number 12, 13, 14, wherever we picking. Best defensive player on the board. Whether that be a safety, cornerback, linebacker, it don't matter. Defensive end, we'll take one. Hell, we'll take two. If you're going to give us three, we'll take it. We need everything we can get because we pitiful on that side of the ball. We have to get better. So this is how we get better, through the draft. Through the draft, develop the players. That's it. Let's watch a little bit more of this here.
But pairing him with Kenny Clark, that was big.
Geno Smith throws and broken up. Genty the target, and out there on the edge, Kalen Carson made the play.
Solid defensive coverage, in the secondary.
Blitz off the edge. Pickens makes the catch and then fights his way.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Pickens was
first down
catching
yardage.
balls all night long.
CeeDee Lamb, first down and into Raiders territory, and a perfect throw from Prescott for 14 yards.
Dak had a solid night.
When you start getting the ball out on time.
After that turnover.
Crosby coming off the edge. They run away from him, and Malik Davis gets 10. They're going to mark him down with about a 9.5-yard gain. So Prescott with good blocking. Floated for CeeDee Lamb. Down to the 14.
CeeDee had a
Just
big night. I mean, a decent night.
Broke short of a first down by about a yard and a half.
We're Phoenix Energy.
So that's what I'm saying.
Oil
I
from
think
North
that's
Dakota.
that's enough of that. Just wanted to look at a few highlights of the Cowboy games, kind of talk about it. Talked about my fantasy team a little bit. I'm in first place in a couple of leagues. Like I said, I think I failed a fifth or sixth in one of the other leagues. But hey, I'm in playoff contention in all my leagues. So, that's what you can't dance unless you go to the dance. So that's the plan, just to make it to the tournament. If a Bill Parcells said, we just need to make it to the tournament. If you make it to the tournament, anything can happen. So that's that. Man, it's back. It feel good to be back on the report, on the Crook Report. Hey, it's still some things coming up. We'll see. We'll talk about it more. But man, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. If you tuned in to the Crook Report, be back tomorrow. Peace out.